咁我又又翻嚟啦。因為我自己咧就冇除咗2個通宵，我冇嗰個我琴日係咪因為今日冇瞓過覺，而家即係講緊係10點咯，就同大家一齊聽，咁聽完之後我就應該會翻去瞓覺。咁其實就我明白 DSE 係辛苦嘅，辛苦還辛苦，咁即係影響喺將來咧就係你自己嘅條路。係啊，咁就希望大家可以即係順順利利咁度過啦。咁其實我已經係，其實我9點鐘已經係 ready 好啦。咁跟住點知其實發現原來佢10點鐘，我哋嚟啦。咁我哋即係安靜一啲去
Hong Kong Diploma of Secondary Education
聽。咁我會將個 background music 較大聲少少嘅。
English Language Paper 3
點講
Listening and Integrated Skills Instructions to candidates. You should have on your desk a Part A question-answer book, a Part B1 data file with a Part B1 question-answer book inserted,
即係要作文咧，即係Chris Wong 寫啲咩 complaint letter 或者係 apologize letter。咁其實咧，我係想睇下佢今年 DSE 咧同 IELTS 有幾大分別。呢個就係我主要目的嚟。咁我都見到有一啲觀眾入咗嚟，咁我都好開心啊！有3個人睇，我覺得首次直播真係直播有3個人睇，多謝。雖然有少少 delay，唔好意思啊。
Now write your candidate number in the space provided on page 1 of your Part A question answer book。
咁其實要黐巴曲寫嘢呢啲都係一啲走過場儀式一定要做嘅嘢。咁樣就我都應該唔會點講嘢㗎啦。
Look at the Part A question answer book. Check that the Part A question answer book has no missing pages. Look for the words end of Part A.Now go on to Part B on the last page.
死啦，搞到我自己都有少少緊張添，坐立不安有少少。
Now stick your barcode labels in the spaces provided on pages 1, 3, and 5.
其實大家可以放心啦，如果你 miss 咗呢個直播嘅話，我會即係 upload 翻上去 YouTube 度，咁即係作為一個 backup 啦。咁其實我就係啦，我而家一直有拍片嘅，其實拍住嘅我有，咁所以就即係會同大家回顧翻。如果大家 miss 咗嘅話，咁其實即係自己都可以聽多次。我哋又嚟錄奏紙啦，咁有冇觀眾 call in 啊？或者係聽完之後 call in 吹下水啊？大家。
Now look at your Part B1 data file. Take out the inserted Part B1 question answer book. Check that your Part B1 data file has no missing pages. The inserted part. Look for the words, "This is the last page of the Part B1 data file."
呢位觀眾看同時咧就話聽到明，我唔知係咪講緊聽到未啊？咁而家其實係即係 check 緊卷。
Now look at your Part B1 question answer book.
Listening 好似有 B1 同
B2。Part B1 question answer book has no missing pages.
好似又係 identify 你究竟係 level 4係 maximum 同埋 level 5 star 係 maximum 嘅卷啊！我唔係好記得佢哋個 format 係點啊！我記得好似要考2份嘅。咁其實咧就我唔明點解咧等咁耐仲未開考，應該係10點鐘直接開考。
Now stick your barcode label in the space provided on page 1. Close the Part B1 question answer book when you have finished. Now look at your Part B2 data file. Take out the inserted Part B2 question answer book.
其實我自己咧就冇。
Check that the Part B2
我自己唔係好中意話用 YouTube 嘅直播，因為佢直播又 delay 大概30秒半分鐘啦，雖然我唔係好想啦。咁其實我會試下會唔會用 tweet 嘅，但係 tweet 喺 gaming 嗰方面咧就唔係好適合我做呢啲即係 DSE 呢啲比較唔係 gaming 嘅東西。應該差唔多 check 完片就應該會進入我哋嘅 A1 嘅，但係仲喺度對緊卷啊！好想喊啊！開始未啊
？Look for the words end of part B2 on the last page.
有個觀眾又即係擔心話會嘈到我，不過唔會嘅其實。大家都係陣間到時一齊聽嘅啫。
Now stick your barcode labels in the spaces provided.
大家到時陣間一齊聽咁可能每 part 之間咁大家可能傾幾句咁，然之後等佢聽晒 section A 嘅時候，咁我哋就可以再即係詳細咁傾。但好似 section B 仲要聽多一段先，會好似係可能聽晒我哋嘅即係聆聽材料之後，咁我哋大家可以傾一陣。我哋繼續聽綠袖子啊，好柔和嘅音樂啊。通常考完 DSE 嘅都會好憎聽到綠袖子。
You are reminded that all examination materials will be played once only. This paper is divided into two parts. Part A and Part B. For Part A, you should use a pencil to answer all questions. For Part B, you can use a pen or a pencil. Put up your hand now if you have any difficulties. It is not possible to handle complaints after you have sat the paper. The listening component is about to begin. Keep your earphones on until you are told to take them off. Open your Part A question answer book at page 3. Part A is about to begin.
嚟啊！開始，準備大家。
Part A. Situation. The Chow family is on holiday in London. You are going to listen to 4 recordings of the Chow family planning their holiday activities and visiting a museum. In Part A, you will have a total of 4 tasks to do. Follow the instructions in the question-answer book and in the recording to complete the tasks. You will find all the information you need in the question-answer book and the recording. You now have 2 minutes to familiarize yourself with tasks 1 to 4.
咁呢個時候咧就可以係即係睇成份卷去睇下，好似頭先我所講，去大概俾自己有個概念，就係去一陣間要留意啲咩類型嘅答案，將來係數字啊、地址啊，係啦，等啦，咁樣就。咁咧，我唔知打唔打字覆你好啊，呢位觀眾啊，多謝你第一次睇我呢個嘅 channel， 支持我呢個 channel 啦。咁咧拍完呢個之後咧，我應該會瞓覺，因為我咧就儲咗2萬通宵，我到依家未瞓嘅，係，所以咧我應該係多謝 subscribe 啦。咁我應該係拍完之後，我應該會去瞓一瞓，補一補眠。其實我頭先係瞓咗大概2個鐘頭左右啦，輕輕瞌2個鐘頭咯。 咁跟住之後起身就過去拍片嘅。但係呢個我真係而家要覆一覆你啊 ！Thank you。我其實比較中意，係啊，不過YouTube OK 嘅，其實有個 OK 嘅 channel 嚟，即係有 OK 嘅平台啦。咁如果要零延遲或者少啲嘅 delay 嘅話咧，就應該係 Tweet 嘅，但係 Tweet 喺 gaming 嗰方面就做唔到我想做嘅嘢，即係做唔到我依家想做嘅嘢。嗱，咁分半鐘咧時間就轉眼間就過㗎啦。係你想睇我玩 Minecraft 定同我一齊玩 Minecraft？兩樣嘢嚟嘅喎，同埋有啲好奇點解你唔使返學嘅？而家朝頭早冇黐線，哎呀，星期六啊，而家星期六啊，當我冇講過，我哋嚟啦喎。
Task 1. The Chow family is searching on the internet and talking about things to do. Listen to their discussion and write the information in the spaces below. The first one has been provided as an example. You now have 30 seconds to study the task.
係啦，咁而家拆開話題就好似話今年啲卷係易咗，即係語文科中文同英文啲卷係比較易咗嘅，但係就出嚟個分應該會差唔多，因為其實之前都講過份卷嘅深淺度同埋你攞嘅分數咧係冇一直接嘅關係，即係份卷越淺嘅話，其實你可能 overall 個 grade 其實都冇變過，即係大家都做得會好啲。係，我哋就救翻嚟啦，我唔多廢話。
So then, let's plan what to do today. Any ideas?
Let's just go for a walk around the centre of London.
But Dad, the centre of London is really big. And it's too much walking. Let's do something else.
Well, how about going to a museum? London has lots of excellent museums according to this website your dad is looking at. Here are some exhibitions.
But museums are boring. Can't we do something more fun?
Not all museums are boring. Have a look at this one. It's the Video Games Museum.
Oh, yes. That sounds interesting. What kind of video games do they have?
Let's have a look. Oh, they have all kinds of video games, including a very early video game from 1958 called Tennis for Two.
Tennis for what?
Tennis for Two.
Oh, yes. And there's another one called Ping Pong from 1972. I remember that one. It's like table tennis.
When is it from again?
1972.
That's so old. Are there any new games?
How about this one? Teen Queen 4.
That's from this year, 2016. And all my friends have Teen Queen 4.
Is there a Teen Queen 5?
No, Dad. Don't be silly. That's for next year.
Shall we go there then?
Sounds good to me.
Let's have a look at the opening times. Oh, no. It's closed on Wednesdays, so we can't go today.
Oh.
Well, it's not the end of the world. We can go another day. Any other ideas?
What about this one? The Railway Museum.
The Railway Museum?
Yes.
That sounds boring.
Maybe not. It's in an old station, and you get to ride on an old train.
Actually, that does sound boring.
Boring.
No, it's not boring. And it's quite cheap, too. It's only 250 Hong Kong dollars per person.
$250 per person? That's expensive.
Yes, too expensive. Plus, it's boring.
Okay, then. I guess you're right. Let's look for something else.
How about this one? The Museum of Youth Culture.
Youth culture? That sounds all right.
There's an exhibition about toy ponies, one of your favorite toys.
You've still got your collection of toy ponies, haven't you? The My Pony collection.
Yes, but I don't play with my ponies very much now. I'm a bit too old.
But you still like them.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Do you want to go see the exhibition of toy ponies?
Yes, okay.
There's also an exhibition about boy bands.
I don't like boy bands anymore.
I thought you did.
Nope.
How about this? There's an exhibition on children's fashion.
That sounds boring.
No, but have a look at some of these pictures of the clothes. Don't they look interesting?
Oh, yeah. Those clothes look pretty cool. I'd like to see that exhibition.
Finally, we've got a museum. Let's have a look at where the museum is. Oh no, it's quite far away.
Let's have a look. Oh, but it's open late today.
Okay, so we can go there later.
How much is it? Oh, look, it's free for school children on Wednesdays. That means it's free for Angela today.
Brilliant! And one more thing.
What?
It's interesting for all of us.
That is the end of task 1.
係啦，咁咧就即係大家聽到一段嘅
To tidy up your
好多唔同嘅數字或者年份，即係 early video game 啊，1958啊，for tennis for two 啊，或者 ping pong 唔知咩啦，1972呢啲都係一啲即係我覺得係會考試會考嘅嘢。係啦，咁咧就呢位觀眾啊，咁其實我都好 surprise 會喺呢個 YouTube gaming 度揾到我自己嘅，即係我自己都估唔到。係啦，咁樣就 Minecraft 1.9 server 咁係睇下你想玩咩。如果你話 multiplayer 嘅話咧，即係 PVP 啊、Skywall 啊或者 HyperX 啊嗰啲，我就自己興趣唔大，即係 Block War 啲冇乜興趣。你反而係話如果係二人合力嘅小地圖啊，或者係生存 server 啊呢啲，我會 OK， 即係比較感興趣啲，因為我自己覺得PVP 其實我係其他 game 度都可以做到嘅，即係唔一定話要係呢個 Minecraft。咁咧就係啦，答完呢個問題之後，我哋又聽 Part B 啊。
Task 2.
Task 2係。
The Chow family are in the museum. They are talking about what they have just seen. Listen and fill in the missing information in the spaces below. The first one has been provided as an example. You now have 30 seconds to study the task.
咁至於點
At the
解？
end of the task,
至於點解我會對 Minecraft 啲 PVP 冇乜咁興趣咧？咁我哋可以聽完 DSE 之後，咁你 call in 大家傾下偈。係啦，咁其實咧而家30秒啦，咁我輕輕講下啦。佢 London 佢 London 玩啦，咁去睇 museum 啦，咁有好幾個揀嘅。咁呢個我相信都係fill in the blanks 嘅一啲東西啦。咁即係啲數字或者啲字句啦。嚟緊呢個都會係其實。
So, what did you two see?
We saw an exhibition on teenagers and comics of the world.
Was it interesting?
Oh, yeah, it was brilliant. There are loads of comics just for girls.
Really? I never knew that. I thought all the comics would be for boys.
That's what I thought too. But there are so many for girls, particularly Japanese comics.
Oh, really? What are they like? Are they violent?
Violent? Of course not, Mum. Duh! I said comics for girls, not boys.
So what are they like then?
Well, there are two main kinds of comics for girls. The first kind's fantasy.
What kind of fantasy? Can you give me an example?
Okay, I suppose the most popular kind is a superhero comic.
And what about the other kind?
Well, the other main kind's real life. For example, school life.
You seem to know a lot about comic books.
Oh, yeah, I read them all the time.
I didn't know that. Where do you buy them?
There's a shop I go to in Electric Road.
Electric Road? Why do you go there? Why not the place near our home?
There's a much better choice there.
I'm not sure I like the idea of you buying comics.
Oh, it's not what you think. These are comic books for teenagers. They're not violent at all. They're about problems teenagers have.
Problems teenagers have? Like what?
Arguing with parents. I mean, we're arguing now. That's a problem for me.
Ha ha, very funny.
Look, you two. Let's stop this. What did you see, Linda?
I saw an exhibition on best-selling toys from the past.
Oh, that sounds interesting. What did they have?
Well, one of the things they had was a Cabbage Patch doll. It was really popular in the 1980s.
That doesn't sound very exciting.
But this doll is actually really ugly.
Really? Why would anyone want a doll like that?
But that's the whole point. People bought the doll because it was ugly.
I really can't believe that. How many little girls would want one?
Well, actually, millions of little girls.
Why were they so popular?
Well, I think it's because there were many different designs.
Many different designs?
Yes, and this made them very collectible.
So, ugly, but collectible dolls. Do you want one for your birthday, Angela?
Actually, I'd quite like one. I can look after it for a few years, so it increases in price.
That's my girl. Always thinking ahead. What else did you see, Linda?
I saw one other thing that I think you would really like.
Which is?
A space hopper.
A what?
A space hopper. It's like a big rubber ball.
A big rubber ball?
Yes, and you sit on it and jump around.
Wow, jumping around. That sounds kind of fun.
But the best part was the extra things. You know, the other things that kids used to do with space hoppers.
Like what?
Well, you can have a race.
Actually, me and my brother both had one. And as well as having races, it was really good fun having a fight.
You and your brother fighting. That doesn't surprise me.
Actually, this toy's beginning to sound awesome. Can we go back and see it, Mum?
Sure, let's go.
我哋就即係聽完 Task 2咯。Task 2比較長啊，咁就即係一啲數字或者一啲係啦，呢個有 shop in Electric Road 啦，即係一個地點啦。我相信係要填落去。咁跟住其他一啲唔同嘅一啲 details 啦，即係講緊可能girls 嘅 comics 係啲咩係 Japanese 嘅 comic 啦，跟住好笑，俾女仔睇係會暴力噶咯。有少少奇怪啊，有少少嚇親啊！你知俾女仔睇唔係通常，即係女仔通常係嗰啲公仔啊得意噶嘛，點解暴力嘅咧？我唔明啊。不過就都係啲字，即係可能啲生字對大家有少少難度啊。不過就 OK 嘅，啲字唔算話好難串嘅，即係可能。即係霎時之間醒唔起或者係咩咁，其實咧我自己冇題目咧，就我自己嘅作 notes 嘅方法就同考 IELTS 冇乜分別嘅啫。係啦，咁咧就 task 3啦，咁我哋就又翻嚟繼續聽 task 3啊。
Task 3. The Chow family are looking at an exhibition in the museum called Young Inventors. A guide is showing them around this exhibition. Listen and fill in the missing information in the spaces below. The first one has been provided as an example. You now have 30 seconds.
我哋又有30秒，我哋又有30秒時間。唔好意思，我唔記得較翻大聲少少先。
At the end of the task, you will have 1.5 minutes to tidy up your answers.
後生嘅發明啊，我唔知有啲咩發明好我唔知有啲咩發明好俾大家睇有啲冇咁唔似咗啊！ OK， 我哋就翻嚟啊，30秒其實轉眼間就過啦。好眼瞓我已經，我有啲眼瞓啦開始。
Hello everyone, my name is Sokari Douglas and I'll be your guide for this section of the museum. Today I'll be showing you the exhibition on young inventors and I hope you enjoy the tour.
It sounds really interesting. Do you think it will inspire you to try some inventions of your own, Angela?
Not likely. I'm no good at science.
But I don't think all the inventions are about science. Let's have a look at them.
So, our first exhibit is the shoe battery charger. This was invented by Juan Domingo from the Philippines, and he was only 14 when he invented it. The inventor walks 5 kilometers to school every day. I know this seems a lot, but in the countryside in the Philippines, many school children have to do the same. Anyway, the inventor thought that this is a lot of wasted energy.
Wow. A 5-kilometer walk to school every day. That's pretty far. Would you like to walk that far to school, Angela?
Not likely. I'm not going to waste all that energy.
Well, actually, according to the inventor, on average, people take 7,000 footsteps a day.
That seems a lot. So how does the shoe work?
Well, there are different stages to the process, and let me show you. Here is the shoe, and inside each shoe are 2 electrical discs. First, the person wearing the shoe steps on the electrical discs every time they take a footstep. Second, each footstep generates pressure on the disc. And third, this pressure is then converted to electricity.
So how do you store the electricity?
You need a battery, and you attach it to the outside of your shoes.
I've got a question.
Yes?
How much electricity do the shoes generate?
That's a good question, actually. At the moment, not so much, but this is a model. The inventor gave an example of when he played basketball for an hour and a half, he managed to generate 15 minutes of battery power for a mobile phone.
That's not very much.
That's right. But there is one other application that the inventor has suggested. This electricity can be used to power a light, and this doesn't need so much power. Any other questions?
What do you think, Angela?
Well, I wouldn't like to do all the walking, but it certainly is useful. What do you think, Dad?
I think it's great.
I worry that it's not practical, and you won't be able to produce enough electricity. Surely traditional batteries are better.
Okay, let's move on to our next invention. Just over here. Can everybody see? This invention is the smelly alarm clock. The inventor of this is Jean-Paul Moncoeur, and he's from Canada. This 17-year-old invented the device for his father, who is deaf, or hard of hearing, I should say. Jean-Paul invented this to help his father, who couldn't hear the sound of an alarm clock. As a result of this, very often his father was late for work and almost lost his job. Jean-Paul had the brilliant idea of using the sense of smell instead of sound to wake people up.
Sorry to interrupt, but what smell did Jean-Paul find was the most effective to wake people up?
That's a good question, and the answer is peppermint.
Peppermint?
Yes, peppermint.
So, how does the device work then?
Well, first you place some peppermint tablets inside the alarm clock, and then you set the alarm. When the alarm goes off, a fan blows air towards the sleeper.
But does it really work?
Oh, yes. And you know that most people hate getting up early in the morning. Well, the inventor reckons that most people wake up in a good mood.
Really? That sounds good to me.
Sounds too good to be true to me.
And one more thing. Apparently, you also wake up feeling refreshed.
No, I'm not convinced.
I am. I think it sounds fantastic. What do you think, Angela?
I think I agree with Dad on this one.
That is the end of task 3. You now have 1.5 minutes to
係啊，呢一 part 會比較難啊！呢一 part 咧佢就講啲發明啊，咁好多人名啊，咁人名我相信係唔需要嘅，因為嗰啲咩 Sir 唔知咩 Douglas 啦，跟住然之後嗰啲嗰條友叫咩名啊？唔知叫咩名啊？即係一啲咁難串唔到嘅話咧，咁就應該會 provide 咗嘅。咁可能嗰啲數字上面要嘥幾多5 km 翻學啦，7000步 per day 啦，跟住可能話嗰個叉電鞋係嗰啲裝置有啲咩？有2塊 electrical disc 啊，然之後有啲 battery outside connect outside the shoes 係啦，跟住有啲basketball 嗰度，因為我啱啱頭先掛住覆你啊，係啊，呢位觀眾啊，掛頭先掛住覆你 Skype 嘅 message 啦，所以我聽唔到佢幾多個鐘頭啊，咁就即係唔知打幾耐波咧，打幾耐籃球就會 generate 到15分鐘嘅電俾 mobile phone 啊，咁或者可以 power light 即係少量 power light 啦，係啦，咁跟住仲有一個嗅覺嘅鬧鐘啊，幫佢老豆啊，因為佢聽唔到嘢咧，就成日遲到啊，咁咧就係一個 peppermint 啊。薄荷啊，咁呢一個可能對大家比較冇嘢嘅，其實即係 peppermint 可能係比較大家唔知咩嚟嘅 peppermint 係其實薄荷或者薄荷葉啦，薄荷味道啦，咁其實我唔明點解唔係臭豆腐啊、臭蜜咯，即係叫醒人唔係用呢啲嘅咩？點解用薄荷啊？都唔關事，唔緊要嘅。Task 4就好快其實。
The Chow family are attending a lecture given by David Stott.About movie stars that are popular with young people.
Movie star 咁 Johnny Depp 啦，或者係仲有邊個
Listen to the lecture and answer the questions below.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Please note, you do not need to answer incomplete sentences.
呢 task 4通常比較難嘅，因為要 complete sentences 咧。
The first one has been provided.
大家要寫嘢寫得比較快，同埋要寫得準啦。
You now have 30 seconds to study the task.At the end of the task, you will have 2 minutes to tidy up your answers.
你知係 MC 係咩先？係你開 server 我入嚟一齊玩 survival 啊，或者係定係你講 HyperX 嗰啲先 ？HyperX 嗰啲我真係冇乜興趣，因為我真係覺得喺 Minecraft 上面玩 PVP 真係好奇怪。即係你話如果 PVP 我會去玩即係 Battlefield、Call of Duty 啊，或者係其他唔同嘅。係咩？嗰隻格鬥機我唔記得叫咩名。係啊，我陣間再覆你啊。
My name is David Stott, and I'm here to talk to you about one American movie star from the 1950s who has perhaps had the biggest influence on young people all over the world. So, who is this movie star? Well, of course, it's James Dean.Even if you don't know his name or have never seen him in a movie, you still might recognize him. How? Well, you might see his image in a work of art, such as a painting or a screen print. He has featured in some of the most famous art of the last century. Apart from art, you might see a photo of him on someone's wall, or in a restaurant, obviously a black and white photo,as it would have been taken in the 1950s. Or, you might hear his name in the lyrics to a pop song, which would be something about looking like James Dean, or smoking like James Dean, driving a fast car like James Dean, or just being cool like James Dean. He is one of the most recognizable people of the last century. But why is he so recognizable?I mean, why is James Dean still so famous even today? Well, one of the things that ensured he would be a legend is that he died so young. He died at the age of 24, and so his good looks never faded. The other reason why his fame continues today is that he died tragically in a car crash. This, I think, contributes significantly to his continuing fame. What's even more surprising is that James Dean wasn't one of those actors who made a lot of films. His fame rests on his roles in just 3 movies, and I'm going to talk about those in a moment. Actually, fame did not arrive so easily for James Dean. Before he made these 3 movies, he was involved in acting, but only had small roles, and he had to supplement his income with other jobs, such as a stunt tester on a TV game show called Beat the Clock. And he was actually fired. Why? It's quite ironic, really. In this TV show, contestants had to do stunts inside a certain time limit. One of the typical stunts was like, say, contestants had to pick up and carry an egg across a room in 30 seconds, but they weren't allowed to use their hands. That sort of thing. James Dean's job was as a stunt tester. So he had to test the stunts to see whether they would be possible to do inside the time limit. Actually, he was so good at doing the stunts and so quick that he was fired from the show. As I said earlier, his fame rests on just 3 movies.
男人太快都唔係咁好嘅。
Rebel Without a Cause and Giant. It is the second of these movies, Rebel Without a Cause, filmed in 1955, that has been the most influential in popular culture. So, what's so special about Rebel Without a Cause? Well, for the first time ever in the movies, Rebel Without a Cause showed the problems faced by a typical teenager in the 1950s. So, what were these problems that teenagers faced back then? Well, they were pretty similar to those teenagers face nowadays. But as I say, what made it special was that these problems had never been shown in movies before. Before that time, and I know this sounds crazy now, middle-aged adults usually had the leading roles. Young people played roles such as sons and daughters of the main characters. So why were young people even in movies? Well, young people were usually just there to show that the main characters, the adult characters, were happily married and had a happy family. So typically, young people were on the screen for only 5 to 10 minutes in the entire film. And that was it. James Dean and his role in Rebel Without a Cause changed all of that. It was as though Hollywood and the US movie-going public suddenly woke up. This had 3 huge effects on the movie industry. Firstly, a large number of movies about teenagers began to be made. Before this, as I said earlier, movies were always about adults. The second major effect was that this kind of film began to be made in many different countries, so it wasn't just in Hollywood, it was in movie industries all over the world that films about teenagers started to be produced. And thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, young people who had been ignored by the movie industry were targeted as an audience by the movie industry. So young people became the target audience. Okay, let's fast forward 40 years to the rise of another movie star, Johnny Depp.
真係 Johnny Depp 啊
That is the end.
哦 Johnny Depp 就咩啊？我喺 YT 幾年，我 YouTube 幾多年，我唔清楚喎。因為呢條係我即係我自己私人 channel， 我以前係有拍過 YouTube 嘅。咁嗰陣時都我唔記得幾耐，4年前啊，5年前啊。係嗰時有拍過下嘅，咁跟住之後 stop 咗嘅。係啦，咁其實呢個 task 係比較困難啊，因為呢個 James Dean 咧係比較即係可能大家唔係好熟悉嘅話，啲名唔知點算，同埋佢好多唔同嘅information 一次過 group 埋一齊嘅時候，你會好難去處理分析，即係 separate 嗰啲唔同嘅答案啊，咁好多唔同嘅數字啦。名啦，即係 Giant 啊、 呢個咩 rebel without a cause 意思，我自己寫得了一就係睇唔到添，哎呀死啊！跟住 is either 即係一啲佢演過3套戲嘅名啊，仲有係講緊一啲點解原因啦，點解年青人係喺呢個電影呢個行業係被忽視啦。唔緊要，其實你而家先至啱啱 Form 1，其實呢一個係中六嘅程度嚟嘅，咁所以唔係好清楚。其實 OK， 即係合理嘅。咁就你仲有慢慢時間係啦。如果你知道真係自己比較吃力嘅話，咁你可能而家要開始為你嘅 DSE 着想嘅啫。而家開始努力啊，即係越早努力咧就越好嘅。咁回報越高啊，同埋你會越輕鬆咯。呢個我俾你嘅忠告啊！係啦，咁咧就part B 我唔知聽唔聽我 part B， 因為其實我有啲攰啦。係啦，咁而家大家聽個綠袖子嘅，其實都係冇乜話好特別嘅嘢啊。咁咧我哋就我咪應該開多個位係 show 呢個Skype 啦。頭先視窗係啦，我啱啱整個 Skype 嘅落嚟。Skype 喺邊度 ？Skype 目前通係冇，我都係冇啊。Part B 啊。
Situation. You are Indy Wong. You are a museum assistant for Lara Gao at the Hong Kong Social History Museum. Lara has a few things she wants you to do to help out.
你 Survival Minecraft 你係指你開 server 我入嚟一齊玩啊，定係我自己拍片拍Minecraft Survival 先？我開唔到啊！我而家呢個 Mac 機嚟㗎，我唔識開。我部寶貝唔喺度啊！我部真係攞嚟打機 gaming 嘅電腦唔喺度，唉，陰公豬。
And the tasks. Complete the tasks by following the instructions in the question-answer book and on the recording.
我又唔係好中意玩啲太大型嘅嗰啲，或者好多 pop in 嗰啲，因為好多都係已經建設好起好晒嘢啦，我唔。我中意啲，我真係中意同 friend 玩嘅 survival server。大家一齊搞笑嗰啲先好玩。即係除非你係 Skywall 嗰啲，咁你出去同即係排街場冇乜所謂。但係如果你話 survival mode 嘅話，即係 survival server 嘅話，我自己比較 prefer 係同 friend 一齊玩。即係唔係好中意同即係太大型嘅 server， 太多唔識嘅人咯。即係變咗，可能個 server 已經係 egg wall 咩嚟？我未聽過。因為其實我唔係好熟悉 Minecraft， 因為我主要玩嘅 game 唔係 Minecraft 咯。咁其實 Minecraft， 因為其實而家成個 channel 都係起步中，我真係想拍嘅 gaming 我係未開始。即係我想拍啲大作咧，我係未拍到。即係大家都知道 Mac 機嗰部 Mac 機咁廢，即係顯卡又唔掂 ，CPU 又唔掂，冷卻又唔掂，點攞嚟打機咧？其實都係好將就下。即係佢而家暫時拍個 game 都係得 LOL 同埋 Minecraft。咁其實嚟緊會拍一啲多啲嘅 game， 即係可能係講緊爐石啊，嗰個叫咩 Robot Car 啊，呢啲 Steam 上面遊戲都會玩嘅。我睇下會唔會玩，因為其實而家都有少少忙啦。其實係啦，其實我咁忙都有出嚟拍片，其實大家應該俾個 like 先。除咗幾日通宵，我仲喺度同你哋喺度直播 Skype。多謝你個 like 啊！俾一個得噶啦，唔使俾兩個啊！千祈唔好俾兩個 like 我啊！get 嚟嘅呢個，俾兩個 like 咪即係取消咗個讚號咯。係啦，其實我一直都唔明點解要作文嘅，即係你已經有份卷考 writing 嘅，你仲要 listening， 即係考有咩用啊？即係係咪考你分析咧？其實我自己就即係中意下 IELTS 嗰個 format 嘅 ，IELTS 嗰個係比較上 簡單啲，即係 IELTS 可能即係4個 task 咁做完就搞掂啦。即係其實 DSE 香港好多大學啊，或者 ASO High Dip 都好，都係認可呢個 IELTS 嘅。咁中文嘅話咧，就係、是、嗰個 HKCAS 定 CSA 啊，即係一個又係一個俾鬼佬考嘅一個。係中文咩？HK 唔知咩，我唔記得咗啊。總之咧，又係一個香港即係好多學府啊，都會認可嘅一個中文程度。因為就算你 DSE 肥咗中文或者英文，你可以去考呢兩個試，去當係你嗰個嘅 DSE 成績啊，即係幫你入大學又好，幫你入 ASO High Dip 又好，係啊。Listening, writing and writing。係 listening and writing， 唔係喎，兩篇嘢嚟，好似係 B1 同 B2 嚟喎，定係2揀1，定係好似係2揀1啊 writing， 唔係 listening 好似係2揀1 writing 就硬食嘅，係咪啊？睇先，唔係 writing section A 好似要寫一篇短文，跟住然之後 B1 B2 俾你揀 ，listening 好似就係直接寫。B1 and B2， 我俾條 link 你啦，話唔使，我俾條 link 你啦，而家直接，唔使你揾得咁辛苦啊！哇，多謝，都好過冇，你 like 都好過 like 多啲啊，好，非常好，嘿嘿，係啦，咁其實咧就我嚟 send 俾你先啦。好啦，我哋翻嚟啦，佢已經準備好啦，應該。Connection error，gosh，哦，GG，出事啊！出事啊，大佬！聽唔到啊！大鑊了 ！connection 出事！我哋呢度啲 DSE 喺邊度？我而家即刻再今日個 WiFi 好唔聽話，好憎而家呢個 WiFi。可能真係要提早收檔。佢嗰個有好大嘅問題出現啊！係啊，佢呢個嘅我放棄啦，算啦，我都放棄，我都放棄唔聽啊！作文唔好教我，我算啦，放棄。